Hello everyone and welcome to the online workshop presentation for cover letter writing. My name is Amanda Copethio. I am a career advisor here at Mesa Community College. Today we will be talking about the purpose of a cover letter. We're going to explain and identify the basic structure of a cover letter so that you have a more complete understanding of what those components are. We're also going to provide you with enough information so that you yourself can actually create an effective cover letter. So with that, we're going to get started. Okay, so what is a cover letter? A cover letter is an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to a potential employer, to just into a position that you're wanting to apply for. So it's usually a document that you provide alongside your resume so that you can provide additional information on your skills, your abilities, what your experience is. It's just a written expression of who you are. And it's one of those documents that you have to really tailor to the position. So it's just your written expression of who you are as an individual and how you are qualified for that position. It's not a review of your resume. It's just something that you use in addition to that. I always recommend that you add a cover letter when you do a resume and you present it to an employer or add it to an attachment on an application because it just shows them that you went the additional effort to explain why you're a perfect candidate for the position you're applying for. It allows you to kind of just give them a little extra additional information about who you are. So like I said, cover letters also explain why you're qualified for that job. What's the purpose of a cover letter? It's a way for you to introduce yourself to the organization. So they want to get to know you, they can read your cover letter, and it's just a way for you to demonstrate some kind of interest in their company as well. It's to show them that, maybe you were looking at their website and you found a job that you wanted to apply for. This is something you can add into the cover letter if you wanted to. It's another way to draw attention to your resume. So if you have a compelling and an interesting cover letter, someone's going to want to read what's on your resume. You may say you have experience in certain areas, or if you have experience in certain qualifications that are looking for in a candidate, and it's on your cover letter and there's more information on your resume, that's where they're going to find it. So the cover letter is like an introduction to your resume. It's another way to convince an employer that you're one of the best candidates for the position that you're applying for too. So like I said, it's just another way for you to introduce yourself and your qualifications. So we're going to watch a video on how to write the perfect cover letter. There's some information in here, some tips that you may want to write down. It goes along with what we're going to cover later on in the presentation about the structure of the cover letter, to make sure that you are hitting key points that a cover letter needs.
Writing a good cover letter is a crucial step in the job search process, yet many people don't write one or put in the time to write an effective one. So how do you write the perfect cover letter? This short video will give you the necessary steps to create an effective cover letter that lands you interviews. We often hear people ask, do I need to send a cover letter? The answer is yes. You should always send a cover letter unless the job posting says otherwise. The point of the cover letter is to give a bit of an introduction as to who you are, your interest in the position, and why you'd think you'd make a good fit. It also adds a human touch to the plain old boring resume. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we're going to cover is the format, and then we'll cover things you absolutely need to mention if you want your cover letter to stand out from the hundreds of other job seekers. Okay, let's take a look at how a cover letter should be formatted. As you see in our template, the header should have your name, contact number, and email. You can keep it similar to the header on your resume, but omit your mailing address. You should then include the receiver's name, title, company name, and address. If you can't find the name of the hiring manager, don't include it. You can start the letter as Dear Hiring Manager, but always try to make an effort to find out the hiring manager in charge. You should try to keep your cover letter between half a page to 2/3 of a page long. Remember that most employers spend less than a minute going through your resume and cover letter. No one wants to read an in-depth, page-long cover letter. 3 paragraphs is a good length, and we'll go through what each paragraph should contain. will then show you an example of an excellent cover letter. Paragraph 1 should be an introduction to who you are and the position you're applying for. Include where or how you found the opening, the title, and job ID if there is one. You should also lead into the next paragraph by stating a brief summary of your qualifications or your interest in the position. The second paragraph should discuss your qualifications and achievements which show why you're a good fit for the position. Remember that you want to stand out from the hundreds of other candidates that are applying for the job. So don't just give a few examples of what you did in your last position. Show how you went above and beyond. Mention a few examples of quantifiable or measurable achievements in your career. Use compelling language and don't repeat the information in your resume. Try to bring your experience to life, and this will encourage the reader to look into your resume in more detail. In the third and last paragraph, close out by saying that you feel you're a good fit based upon your qualifications. Remember, you should include a call of action, which in this case would be inviting you to an interview. And the last thing you should do is thank them for taking the time out to consider you. Let's put this template into action. Here's an example of a great cover letter. Hi, Susan. I'm writing to express my interest in the accounting position you have open on your company website with the job ID 11220. I'm a certified public accountant and confident that my experience and skill set would be a great match for this position. I have a strong knowledge of accounting principles backed by experience I have gained in the last 12 years. In my previous position, I managed the accounting of a financial consulting firm with over $30 million in revenue. I not only met expectations, but exceeded them by increasing cash flow by $4 million. I helped achieve this by changing our account receivable policy and negotiating better contracts. There's more in depth on my experience and skills in my resume, which I would appreciate you looking over. I am certain that my experience and skill set would make me a great candidate for this position, as well as a great asset to your company. Please give me a call at the number above to schedule an interview at your convenience. I appreciate your consideration and look forward to hearing from you soon. Sincerely, John Smith. So there you have it. Remember these 3 points in your resume: who you are, your qualifications and how they can benefit the employer, and a call to action asking to schedule an interview. Thanks for watching, and to read more tips, please visit the link in the description at ZipJob.
So the video that we just watched showed us that there's a lot of tips that go with writing an effective cover letter. The main point is to make sure that we are tailoring the cover letter to the specific position that you are applying for. We want to make sure that we're grabbing the reader's attention so that they know that we've read the job description and that we're putting those qualifications that they're looking for with, like they said, quantifiable measurement. So being able to tell them that I did this many things during this time. So we want to be able to give them something to read on about, to look at your resume further. So 53% of employers actually prefer cover letters to be submitted with resumes. So that's what we're wanting to get to you, is we want to provide you information with like how to create that cover letter so you can be one of those candidates that's part of that 53%. How to organize your cover letter. There are a few different components that come along with it. Your header and your greeter are at the very top of your page, and we're going to show you an example of that. There's 3 main parts: the introduction, the body, and the closing. And important information to include into your cover letter is why you're interested in the organization. Why should they be interested in you? What are you going to give them? What kind of information are you going to provide for them? What examples do you want them to know about you? And how are you going to relate it back to that position that you're applying for? You want to, like I said, tailoring is a very, very important part of cover letter writing. So we want to tailor each cover letter to a specific position that you are applying for. So your header and your greeter, or your greeting, not your greeter, sorry about that. Your first and your last name, your address. Like they said, you're more than welcome to put your full address if you want to. You can just put the city, state, and zip code if you want to do that as well. Contact number, it could be a home number, a mobile phone, just something where if you do have a way to leave a message for them to leave you a message to come in for an interview, that's how they'll contact you. Make sure you have a professional contact number and email address, outgoing messages for those. You can also add your LinkedIn URL if you want to show that you have an online presence and you want to show them that digital format. Stuff on the top, basic information, your date, month, day, and year, company name, and if you can address it specifically to somebody within the HR department, or if there's somebody that you're specifically sending it to, you can put their name above the company name, address, city, zip code, and then however you want to put your greeting. Greeting could be Dear Mr., Mrs., Ms., with the full name, or if you don't know who you're sending the letter to, Dear Hiring Official, or it could be officials. It could be Dear Director of Human Resources. It could be Dear Hiring Committee. It could be anything that would leave it kind of gender neutral because you do not know who it's going to. But if you can personalize it at any time, I would always try and do that. So you have an introduction. So that's that very first paragraph that you're going to have that shows that how you want to capture the employer's attention. So you want to capture their interest. You want to identify the position you're applying for. It could be a position name with a job number, where you heard about the position. Was it online through their company? Was it through Indeed or ZipRecruiter? Was it through word of mouth? Was it through LinkedIn? Did you hear it through LinkedIn? There's so many different recruiting sites now that they post positions on. So you may want to do that specifically on your cover letter. Where did you hear that from? Describing your interest in that particular opening. Why did you apply for it? You know, what interests you about that company and why do you want to be a part of it? You want to add that information into that first introduction paragraph. So just a little bit of a format example. Your first paragraph should discuss what position you're applying for, how you heard about it, and why you're interested in this position. If you have a personal contact at that company, include their name with their permission. If not, review the company's website and include something unique about them in a paragraph. This may impress the employer and show them that your level of high interest is high and that you have done your research. So if you found like a mission, vision, and value piece and you want to add something into that as part of your introduction piece, you can do that. So an example could be, please accept my application, resume, and cover letter for the consideration of or for the position of, and then write the position name, job title. If you want to put the company name too, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you have the person's name, you can add them in there as well. The body. So the body of your cover letter, even though in the video it said it should be 1 paragraph long, I usually say 1 to 3. It just depends on how big the paragraphs are. Because sometimes you want to separate out the qualifications that you're trying to show that you are qualified for that position. So it's just to show that you understand what the position is about, what qualifications are needed. So you want to explain how it relates back to that. You also want to include examples. The video also said make sure you have quantifiable examples. So if you have numbers, like they're asking for someone who can speak publicly. If you have public speaking qualifications, you can say, I've spoken to groups of 10 to 250 people through seminars, in person, and via video chat. Those are some of the things that you can include as part of those examples. However, you do not want to just keep repeating what's in your resume. You kind of want to personalize it to you so it shows that you're telling them a story. You want to illustrate more specifically how you would be a contribution to that organization. So how would you tell them that you should pick me over somebody else? So you want to tell them like, I've done this, and these were the results that came out of it. So it's giving them additional information on how you meet that requirement. So another example here of the structure. So the second paragraph or paragraphs should explain how your experience, skills, and or education fit the position. Be sure not to repeat your resume here. Instead, look at the job posting to find one of the job's qualifications, then state it in a paragraph and describe how you meet it. So an example would be, as an associate producer, I write for 6 evening weekday shows with an average of 30 to 40 stories a day. All stories can range from being 20 seconds to 1 minute and 45 seconds long. Once assigned a story, my job is to bring it to life through my writing and producing. Anchors then read my stories on air, and for the longer pieces, I have a reporter or anchor voice them. I also have experience editing videos through Adobe Premiere. So an example here is they're talking about their producing skills, their writing skills. So they want them to know this is how many stories I've done, this is how long they are, and these are the people that I work with. So this is what their daily job would be if they were applying for an associate producer job. Closing. This is how you establish a flow of action. So what that means is that you're wanting to give that employer information so that you can set up an invitation for an interview. So you want to state that you have an opportunity to come in for an interview to discuss employment opportunities with them. You want to provide them contact information. Like I said, either your home number, your mobile number, a professional email address so they can get in contact with you. You want to thank the employer for their consideration. And you also want to end the cover letter with a salutation, like something like sincerely or respectfully, and then your first and last name, the information that you would put on top, you want to put on the bottom. So this example, so the third paragraph wraps up the cover letter, includes your plans for follow-up, and thank you for the consideration. Also provide the contact information such as your home/mobile number and or email address. Example, I'm looking forward to receiving a response for an interview. You may contact me at my work number or mobile number. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely or respectfully, and then your first and last name. You can turn this into another selling point for yourself. I see that you have qualifications for public speaking. I feel like I meet these requirements. I would love to come in and talk with you about my qualifications and how my skills can help increase the efficiency of your organization. Something like that. So you also, once again, want to just sell yourself at the end of the closing. So here's an example of a complete cover letter. So we have Jane Doe here. She has her address. And like I said, if you don't want to put your full address, you can just put the city, state, and the zip code, phone number, email address. So we put the date. You can put the name of the person or human resources, company name, address, city, state, and zip code. You can greet it however you need to, put the greeting on there. So her first paragraph of her cover letter states, please accept my resume, cover letter, and application for the open administrative assistant position at XYZ Inc. that I located on your company website. Mary Smith, who is currently employed by your company, suggested that I write you. XYZ Inc. is an innovative and growing company that needs dynamic employees who have the necessary skills to make an immediate contribution to your organization's success. And I am confident that I am a uniquely qualified candidate. So she put in a contact person, probably with permission. She's also given some information about the company itself, and she's shown that she is uniquely qualified for this position. She didn't say how, so she's laying down that interest for that employee to read further. So you have your body paragraphs here, and then you have your closing paragraph with your salutation at the bottom here. So as it reads, it says, as you will note from my attached resume, I have more than 10 years of experience in increasingly responsible administrative positions in a variety of work settings. With strong skills in time management, prioritizing tasks, and meeting deadlines daily, I have the ability to aid and a multitude of people with accuracy. Further, I have a current typing certificate of net 73 words per minute and proficient in Microsoft Word, Publisher, PowerPoint, Adobe Photoshop, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. So that first paragraph in her body shows skills that she has. She wants to let them know that these are some of the skills that were probably in the job description. So she wants to let them know these are what I have, and this is what you are asking for, and it's right up front in this cover letter. So now that that employer knows that it's there, they may want to look at her resume to see what other qualifications does she have. So the second paragraph in the body, I understand that your position includes responsibilities for assisting in the effective management of workflow and processes. So this is probably something she pulled from the qualifications and they were asking for it. So what she's going to do now is she's actually going to describe what she did with a company before and what was the end result of that. For the past 2 years, I've worked at ABC Company as an office manager, where I was acknowledged for improving office efficiency by customizing a communication system to fit our unique work processes. Since its implementation, we have seen work productivity improve and errors decline significantly. So she gave an example and she provided an end result. So that last closing paragraph. With my experience and qualifications, I can bring these same skills and talents to XYZ Inc. to help your company function at its highest level of efficiency and effectiveness. And I look forward to the opportunity to meet with you. You may contact me at my mobile number or by my email at, and then she writes, thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, Jane Doe. So this is just another way to break down the different components of the cover letter. And you can see, if we go to the next slide, this is the whole cover letter. So really, the information, contact information, is about a fourth of the page long, but this itself is 2/3 of the page of this document. So they're reading just those small 4 paragraphs that you have there. You don't want to make them too big. You don't want it to have it go to a second page. Short and sweet, concise is probably what you're looking for. Okay, so some tips for writing a cover letter. Personalize each letter. Address it to each person specifically if you can, and tailor the cover letter to the position. You're never going to have the same cover letter for one job over and over and over again that you're going to be using for another job. So we want to make sure that you are tailoring your cover letter to each position you apply for. Proofread. You always want to make sure that you have your grammar, your words written right, you have the right punctuation. So you want to make sure that that's in there. So if you want someone to read that over for you and you want to bring your cover letter into us in Career Services, we can look that over for you as well. Limit your letter to 1 page. We talked about that. More clear and concise writing. Make sure you have no more than 5 paragraphs. Varying your writing style. So having short sentences and long sentences help kind of transition each paragraph to one another. Avoid using the word I. Try not to use it as much. And then the next tip next to it is using adjectives and action verbs to pique interest. You can use these different words that you have, like collaborating, managing. Instead of I, start your sentences with those so that you can then give a more descriptive sentence. Okay, so if you have any questions for us in Career Services, you're more than welcome to contact us at career@mesacc.edu, or you can call us at 480-461-7592. Leave us a message. If we don't answer, we'll give you a call back. We can set up appointments. We can do that virtually through Google Chat if you'd like to, through a video chat, or if you would like to do just a phone call, we can do that as well. What we like to do is when we set up appointments is to find out if you can send us your cover letters ahead of time so we can look them over and then have a really good discussion on suggestions and anything that we would like to add or maybe take away to that cover letter that you gave us. So if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact us at these 2 different facets right here. All right. Thank you for watching our cover letter presentation, and I wish you a wonderful day.